as far as leaving my mark on the world, leaving a legacy, you know, the long and short of it is I used to worry about that. You know, I used to think I'm going to write a book eventually, or two. I'm going to write a novel. I've always had ideas about doing that. Maybe I still will. I always wanted to write about spiritual topics, you know, kind of like Wayne Dyer, you know. I always thought of Wayne Dyer, you know, I used to kind of discount Wayne Dyer, but I really value the man and what he achieved in his life and all the books that he wrote. Even though the ideas he expressed in his books were all ideas that I'd been exposed to before, which is why I used to kind of discount them. But, you know, he took ideas, and there's only so many ideas when it comes to spiritual type things, you know. There's only so many ideas out there that keep getting recycled, reused, you know, by different faiths. And he'd quote different sources for things that I'd known or learned from other sources, you know, and so I wasn't that impressed with him in the old days. But, you know, as I got older, I started to really appreciate the man and what he had done, and that he had gone ahead and done it, you know, if nothing else. You know, if he hadn't done anything uniquely profound to himself, at least he brought forth and summarized and made clear for a lot of people a lot of concepts, you know, that have been around, you know, for all time. And like I said, there's really nothing new under the sun in spirituality. It's all a matter of, you know, trying to express ideas again, express ideas anew to a new generation. Because we keep changing, you know, the way we think about things changes, the way we talk about things changes. So there's value in that to me, you know. Even if you have nothing new to say, even if there is nothing new to say, there's always new people coming up who want to understand. There's always people who understand things differently, you know, speak a little different language, etc. So, I don't know. I used to think I was going to write, you know, I doubt I ever will do what Wayne Dyer did, you know, write spiritual type books. Maybe. But I still kind of in the back of my mind want to do a novel or something, you know, and try my hand at creative writing. I used to do quite a bit of that. And kind of just haven't had the time for it. But really, speaking for myself, you know, it'd be different if I had kids. You know, if I had dependents in the world, but I really don't. You know, I no longer care about what kind of mark I leave in the world. I used to be concerned that I wouldn't leave any kind of mark in the world. You know, at this point in my life, I really don't care anymore. What kind of legacy I leave, you know, in terms of the people who survived me, you know, the people who... What do they mean to me anyway at that point? Like... You know, like, again, it would be different if I had children, if I had a downline, you know, of survivors. I guess I got some nephews and such, but then there's your ultimate legacy, not just the people who survive you, you know, the people who are still around after you go. But what's your ultimate legacy to yourself, you know? And I don't want to get, in this video, I don't want to go into the deep depth of if there's an afterlife and what kind of afterlife, if there's survival of soul, if there's survival of spirit, you know. And, you know, lately I'm reading a lot into, you know, from Scott Mandelker and other Buddhist teachers, Law of One teachers, and etc., that, you know, the personality doesn't really survive. doing the small things right, even if they're insignificant. And I was watching an Anakinavad video, if I'm saying that right, and he was talking about kind of a related subject. And he gave the example, and he's used this before, of the guy who's throwing the starfishes, masses of starfishes washed up on the beach, would dry out in the sun, as the tide went out. And he was tossing a few back in, and someone was asking him the purpose of doing that. Well, there's so many out here, you're never going to save a significant number of them, What's the difference if you toss a few starfish back in the water? And the guy said, well, it matters to that starfish. And my reply to this video was a friend of mine who's gone now. His words kind of haunt me. Not that he was a perfect master in himself, but he had his moments of wisdom. And he used to irritate me no end sometimes when he would critique me for doing something, something insignificantly small that wasn't exactly positive, I never was much of a litter bug, but that's a good example, littering maybe or something like that. Doing something insignificantly small or not doing something when you really know what was right to do. I think I come up with a better example, but it kind of eludes me at the moment. But his saying to me, he used on me several times, well, are you part of the problem or are you part of the solution? And that used to irritate me no end. Because I kind of blew it off. I was in a pretty positive mode back then, and I guess it's kind of silly to think you're ever blameless, or you never can do better. And I certainly thought I could do better. I wasn't that airy-fairy, spiritual conceited of myself or anything like that. But he would find little things like that, where he would apply that to me, and I would kind of dismiss it in hand, and well, I'm a lot better than this guy or that guy. I'm a lot better than most people. I do a lot more in this regard than most people do, But are you part of the problem or are you part of the solution? Even if it's an insignificant thing, even if you pick up a little piece of litter off the highway that will never matter to anybody, even if you save one plant, and move it, don't kill the little tree sapling, but instead move it somewhere where it won't be in the way, and little things, It's not always a matter of making a big legacy or a big mark in the world, or even making the big difference. It's the little things. It's doing the little things right. It's being honest to yourself, facing the man in the mirror, doing the little things correctly and honestly and with integrity. If not for anybody else, if not to polish your own image in others' eyes, but to polish your own image in your own eyes. Your own self-respect means something. It means a lot. That's an area where I've always had struggled, is my own self-respect, my own self-esteem. So the little things really do matter. The little insignificant, little positive things. And doing, turning off the lights in the office like I do constantly, because the wasters, as I call them when I'm in my more negative modes, I call people wasters. I see people wasting and trashing all over the frickin' place. And I'll have another video coming after this one probably that shows what a negative attitude and how having negative attitude is not a great thing. That is a negative attitude, but not being a waster, turning off the lights that are left on in the office. Not that it's going to mean anything to anybody, but it's just that little bit of coal that's burned in the power plant, Well, enough of this. You get the general idea. Even if it's insignificant, doing what's right, just to face yourself